Blackout Day 2 must have preps most people forget. It's been just 24 hours since the blackout began, and already most households are making critical mistakes that could cost them dearly. Sure, your fridge might still be humming faintly, but don't be fooled that cold air is on borrowed time. And those batteries you thought would last, they're draining faster than you expected. If you thought day 1 was tough, day 2 is where the real test begins. This isn't just about lighting a few candles or cracking open a can of beans anymore. Day 2 is when the hidden dangers start creeping in, the ones no one warned you about until it's too late. And the truth? Most people are dangerously unprepared for what's coming next. Yesterday, we talked about the initial panic, the scramble to save your frozen food, secure water, and figure out a plan. But today, the stakes are higher. Your phone battery is at 20%, the power's still out, and suddenly that foolproof backup plan is full of holes. What's worse, your home is now a minefield of hidden threats that could turn this blackout from an inconvenience into a survival nightmare. So, what do you need to know to stay ahead? Let's dive into the must-have preps most people forget, and why day 2 is the real game changer. 1. Water supply issues, the silent crisis. By day 2 of a blackout, the reality of water scarcity starts to hit hard. Most people don't realize just how dependent they are on a steady flow of tap water until it's gone. That moment when you turn the faucet and nothing comes out, it's not just an inconvenience, it's a wake-up call that your survival hinges on how well you prepared. If you live in an apartment, the water might have stopped flowing hours ago when the building's pumps lost power. For those in homes with gravity-fed systems, the water may still trickle, but don't let that false sense of security fool you. Municipal water treatment plants rely on electricity to maintain pressure and ensure the water is safe to drink. No power means no purification, and that tap water you're relying on could quickly become a health hazard. Boil notices might be issued, but how are you supposed to boil water without electricity? Your electric kettle is useless, and even your gas stove might fail if it relies on an electric igniter. This is where preparation or the lack of it becomes painfully obvious. Did you stock up on bottled water? If so, how much? That 24-pack you grabbed at the store might have seemed like plenty, but by day 2, it's already running low. Drinking water isn't your only concern. You need water for cooking, washing hands, brushing teeth, and even keeping your pets hydrated. And let's not forget about the toilet. Flushing uses up a surprising amount of water, and if your toilet tank is empty, you're in for an unpleasant surprise. So what's the solution? First, if you didn't fill your bathtub on day 1, do it now if there's still any water left in your pipes. Even a small trickle can be collected in buckets, pots, or any large containers you have on hand. You don't overlook your water heater. It's a hidden reservoir of clean water. Turn off the power or gas to it, let it cool, and drain it from the bottom valve. That's potentially 30 to 50 gallons of drinkable water right there. For filtration, a basic camping water filter can be a lifesaver, turning rainwater or questionable tap water into something safe to drink. If you don't have a filter, you can boil water using a propane camp stove, a barbecue grill, or even a makeshift fire outside. No stove? No problem. Bleach can be used as a last resort. Just add 8 drops per gallon of clear water, stir, and let it sit for 30 minutes before drinking. As for toilets, it's time to get creative. The 2-bucket system is a simple and effective solution. Use 1 bucket for liquid waste and another, lined with a trash bag, for solids. Sprinkle some sawdust, kitty litter, or even dirt over the waste to control odor. It's not glamorous, but it works. By day 2, water scarcity isn't just a background worry, it's a full-blown crisis. But with a little ingenuity and quick action, you can stay ahead of the curve and keep your family safe and hydrated. 2. Food spoilage, what to eat and how to cook. Day 2 of a blackout is when your food situation starts to get tricky. On day 1, your fridge was still cold and you might have managed to whip up a meal without much thought, but now the clock has run out on your perishable food, and that sour smell wafting from the fridge is your first clue that things are going downhill fast. One of the biggest mistakes people make during a blackout is constantly opening the fridge door. Every time you do, you're letting out precious cold air and speeding up the spoilage process. Think of it like holding the fridge door open in the middle of summer. It's a surefire way to waste what little cooling power is left. By day 2, your fridge is no longer a reliable storage space. It's a ticking time bomb. So, what's the game plan? Start by prioritizing the most perishable items. High protein, high calorie foods like meat, dairy, and eggs should be at the top of your list. If they're already warming up, cook them immediately. Even if you can't everything in one sitting, cooked food lasts longer than raw, and it's safer to consume. Store any leftovers in a cooler with whatever ice you have left. No ice? Improvise by keeping the cooler in a shady spot and draping a wet towel over it to help maintain a lower temperature. Cooking during a blackout can be a challenge, especially if your electric stove is out of commission. If you have a gas stove, you can light it manually with a match or lighter. No gas, a propane camp stove, charcoal grill, or even a makeshift rocket stove can save the day. Just make sure to cook outside or in a well-ventilated area to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. And then there's the freezer. Once it starts to thaw, you're on borrowed time. A half-thawed chicken isn't just unappetizing, it's a breeding ground for bacteria like salmonella. If you can, cook and eat your frozen items as they thaw. If not, consider sharing with neighbors to avoid waste. Even canned goods come with their own set of challenges. Without a manual can opener, you're stuck trying to stab the can open with a knife, a dangerous and frustrating task. Make sure you have a reliable can opener on hand and organize your pantry so you can easily access shelf-stable items like beans, rice, and pasta. By day 2, every meal becomes a strategic decision. Play it smart, minimize waste, and you'll stay fed and healthy until the power comes back. 3. Battery and flashlight failure when the lights go out for good. By the second night of a blackout, the honeymoon phase of your battery-powered devices is over. That flashlight you grabbed in a hurry, it's already flickering. Your headlamp that seemed so bright last night, it's now a dim shadow of its former self. And that fancy rechargeable lantern, without power, it's nothing more than an expensive paperweight. This is the point when most people realize they didn't stock up on nearly enough batteries. Those AAs you scavenged from the remote control? Dead. The ones in the junk drawer? Also dead. And that USB power bank you were so proud of? It's down to its last bar. By day 2, your home transforms into a shadowy maze, and every creak and groan feels like a potential threat. So, how do you keep the lights on? First, ration your light usage. Use flashlights and lanterns only when absolutely necessary. Embrace the low and slow method by using LED lights on their lowest setting to stretch battery life. If you have solar-powered lanterns or headlamps, make sure to recharge them during the day, even if the sunlight is weak. Candles can be a good backup, but they come with their own risks. Open flames and kids don't mix. And even adults can accidentally knock over a candle, causing a fire hazard. To minimize risk, place candles in deep jars or jawn housings and keep them away from flammable materials. If you're completely out of batteries, get creative. Reflective surfaces like mirrors or aluminum foil can amplify the light from a single candle or flashlight, making it go further. And don't forget about alternative light sources like glow sticks, which can provide several hours of illumination in a pinch. Finally, plan ahead for the next blackout. Stock up on extra batteries in all sizes and rotate them out regularly to ensure they're fresh. Invest in high-quality LED flashlights and lanterns that are designed to last. And if you can, consider a small solar generator to keep your essential devices charged. By day 2, the darkness can feel overwhelming, but with a little preparation and resourcefulness, you can keep your home safe and well lit until the power returns. 4. Toilet sanitation emergency. When your bathroom becomes a battlefield, by the time day 2 of a blackout rolls around, the smell hits you like a brick wall. That toilet you've always taken for granted, it's now your worst enemy. If you're relying on municipal water and the pumps are still down, flushing is no longer an option. And if you're on a septic system, that fancy tank in your backyard is just as useless without water to fill it. Even if you were smart enough to store some water for flushing, it's running dangerously low by now. Every flush becomes a calculated decision, one that pits basic hygiene against your dwindling water supply. Let's talk about the ripple effects of this situation. No running water means no hand washing, no cleaning surfaces, and no showers. Your home, once a place of comfort and cleanliness, is now a breeding ground for bacteria. That tiny bottle of hand sanitizer you've been clutching like a lifeline, it's almost empty and you're rationing every drop like it's liquid gold. Did you stock up on disposable wipes? If not, you're probably improvising with tissues, paper towels, or even scraps of cloth. And if you run out of those, what's the plan? Reusable cloths might seem like a good idea until you realize there's no water to wash them. Trash is another problem that's piling up, quite literally. Those plastic bags that once held cereal or bread are now holding waste, and there's nowhere to throw them. If you didn't plan ahead, you're left with some tough choices: bag it, bury it, or live with the smell. And with every passing hour, the risk of disease grows. Toilets, once a symbol of modern convenience, are now as useless as a paperweight. The psychological toll of this situation can't be ignored. Nobody wants to admit that their home now smells like a gas station bathroom. The embarrassment, the discomfort, and the sheer frustration can wear down even the most resilient person. And let's not forget the health risks. One unwashed hand, one slip up, and you're dealing with more than just an inconvenience. You're facing a potential outbreak of illness. But don't let the stench win. There are solutions even in the direst of circumstances. If you still have water, prioritize flushing waste once or twice a day, using your stored water sparingly. If flushing isn't an option, line your toilet bowl with a heavy-duty trash bag. Sprinkle in some kitty litter, sawdust, or even baking soda to help control the smell. If you're out of hand sanitizer, create a makeshift hand-washing station using a small jug of water and a bar of soap. For trash, double bag waste and seal it tightly. Store it outside, far from your living areas, to minimize the risk of disease. Sanitation might not be a glamorous topic, but it's a critical one. It's the difference between staying healthy and facing a full-blown health crisis. By taking these steps, you can keep your home livable and your family safe. 5. Low phone battery and no communication when the world goes silent. By day 2 of a blackout, your phone's battery bar is flashing red and panic is starting to set in. You've probably already turned off Wi-Fi, dimmed the screen, and maybe even switched to airplane mode to stretch out those last few precious minutes. But let's face it, without a generator or solar charger, your phone is living on borrowed time. Those USB power banks you stocked up on, they seem like a great idea until you realize they only charge your phone once or twice. And guess what? You've already drained them all on day one, checking on family, scrolling for news updates, and maybe even doom scrolling out of sheer anxiety. Even if you somehow manage to keep your phone charged, who are you calling? Cell towers might be down, texts aren't going through, and calls drop after a single ring. That once reliable landline silent. This is the moment when you realize just how dependent you are on that little glowing screen. No phone means no 911, no updates from authorities, and no way to know if help is coming or if the blackout will last another day, a week, or longer. The mental toll of losing your phone is just as significant as the practical challenges. For many, that device is a lifeline to the outside world. It's how you stay informed, connected, and even entertained. Without it, every problem feels bigger, every noise outside sounds more threatening, and every decision feels like a shot in the dark. Did you plan for this? Do you have a backup communication method like a crank radio or printed contact list? Or were you, like most people, completely reliant on your phone? But all is not lost. There are ways to stay connected and informed, even without a working phone. If you planned ahead, a solar charger or a hand crank generator can keep your phone or emergency radio running for critical updates. A simple AM, FM, or NOAA weather radio can help you tune in to emergency broadcasts. And don't underestimate the power of old school methods like walkie-talkies or even handwritten notes for local communication. By day two, the world might feel like it's closing in, but with a little preparation and resourcefulness, you can stay informed and maintain a sense of control. 6. Entertainment and mental health drop when the silence becomes deafening. By the second day of a blackout, the novelty of no power has worn off. That candlelit dinner you tried to make romantic, now it's just dinner in the dark. The kids who were giggling and playing flashlight tag last night, they're bored out of their minds. And you're starting to feel the weight of the silence. Humans thrive on routine, and the blackout has shredded yours. No streaming movies, no music playlists, no video calls to friends. Even your favorite podcasts are off limits if your phone is dead. Most people don't prepare for the emotional side of a blackout. They stock up on canned goods and batteries, but forget about the long hours of nothing to do. The tension builds with every passing hour, and the walls start to feel like they're closing in. Kids get restless, adults get irritable, and every little thing starts to bother you. That constant drip from the faucet, the creak of the floorboards, even the sound of your own breathing, it all feels amplified. And without screens to distract you, every conversation feels like a chore. Sleep becomes another challenge. With no power, there's no AC, no heater, and no white noise machine to drown out the sounds of the night. Every creak, every rustle, every distant bark feels louder than it should. Sleep deprivation sets in, making day 3 even harder to face. But here's the thing, entertainment isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's a critical part of maintaining mental health during a crisis. Without it, day 2 drags on forever, and every minute feels like an hour. That's when mistakes happen. Stress leads to bad decisions, arguments flare, and morale starts to crumble. So what's the solution? Plan for entertainment just as you would for food and water. Pack a deck of cards, a few good books, or even a journal to help process what's happening. Board games, puzzles, and coloring books can keep kids occupied and give adults a much-needed break. If you have a musical instrument, now's the time to dust it off. And don't underestimate the power of storytelling, sharing memories, jokes, or even ghost stories can help pass the time and bring everyone closer together. Staying busy is key. Assign everyone a role, whether it's gathering supplies, organizing tasks, or simply keeping spirits up. By staying engaged, you can turn a stressful situation into an opportunity for connection and resilience. 7. Medications, hygiene products, and pet needs, the overlooked essentials. By day 2 of a blackout, the focus often shifts from the obvious like food and light to the essentials that many people forget. Medications, hygiene products, and pet supplies. These aren't just conveniences, they're lifelines. And when you realize you're running low, the stress can hit like a freight train. Let's start with medications. Imagine opening your medicine cabinet only to find that your life-saving prescriptions like insulin, asthma inhalers, or blood pressure pills are down to their last dose. Pharmacies are closed and there's no way to refill them. Even over-the-counter essentials like pain relievers, allergy meds, or antacids can become a crisis when you're out. For those who rely on daily medications to manage chronic conditions, this is where panic sets in. Skipping doses isn't just uncomfortable, it can be life-threatening. And the mental toll of knowing you're running out with no solution in sight can be overwhelming. Then there's hygiene. It's easy to laugh off personal hygiene in a survival situation until you're on day 2 with no running water. Suddenly, brushing your teeth feels like a luxury, and that last bottle of water you're rationing makes you question whether it's worth it. Showers? Forget about it. Dry shampoo, hand sanitizer, and baby wipes become your best friends. And let's not overlook feminine hygiene products. For many, these are non-negotiable, yet they're often forgotten in emergency prep. Running out of these essentials can make an already stressful situation even worse. Now, let's talk about our furry friends. Pet owners often assume they have enough supplies, but by day 2, that bag of kibble in the pantry starts looking dangerously low. Your dog or cat doesn't understand why their bowl isn't full, and their expectant stares only add to your stress. If your pet requires medication, the stakes are even higher. No vet, no pet stores, and no way to restock means you're on your own. And let's not forget water. Do you ration your own supply to keep your pet hydrated? These are the tough decisions that hit home during a blackout. So what's the solution? Preparation is key. Stock at least a 2-week supply of essential medications and rotate them regularly to ensure they don't expire. For hygiene, keep a stash of dry shampoo, hand sanitizer, dental wipes, and disposable feminine products. These aren't just conveniences, they're critical for maintaining health and morale. For pets, plan for at least a week's worth of food, water, and any medications they need. A manual water filter can help stretch your supply for both you and your animals. And don't forget to include pet waste bags or a designated area for them to relieve themselves. By day 2, it's clear that survival isn't just about food and flashlights, it's about the essentials that keep you, your family, and your pets healthy and comfortable. Overlooking these needs can turn a challenging situation into a crisis, so plan ahead and stay prepared. 8. Security concerns at night when darkness feels dangerous. As the sun sets on day 2 of a blackout, a new challenge emerges: security. Last night, the darkness might have felt eerie, but tonight it feels downright dangerous. With no streetlights, every shadow seems suspicious, and the neighborhood you once felt safe in now feels like a scene from a thriller. The absence of light changes everything, and the sense of vulnerability is hard to ignore. Let's start with the obvious: home security systems. If you rely on smart home devices like cameras or alarms, they're now offline. That high-tech system you invested in, useless without power. Your windows, which once felt secure, now seem like weak points. Your doors, no matter how solid, suddenly feel flimsy. And that trusty deadbolt, it's not much comfort when you realize that desperation can make people do unthinkable things. Desperation is the real threat here. By day 2, people who didn't prepare are starting to panic. That neighbor who always seemed friendly might now be eyeing your generator or the glow of your candles. To someone who's cold, hungry, and scared, your home could look like a beacon of hope or a target. And it's not just about theft. The stress of knowing someone might try to take what you've worked hard to prepare can be just as draining as the blackout itself. Did you think about blackout curtains? If you're using candles or lanterns, the light can be seen from outside, advertising that your home has supplies. Did you secure your sliding doors with a simple stick in the track? Do you have an improvised alarm system like a bell on the door or even a pile of noisy objects near entry points? These small steps can make a big difference in deterring unwanted attention. The psychological impact of feeling unsafe in your own home is profound. Every creak, every rustle outside becomes a potential threat. Sleep becomes nearly impossible, and the stress can take a toll on your decision-making. By day 2, your home stops feeling like a sanctuary and starts to feel like a fortress you're struggling to defend. So, how do you stay safe? First, make your home look as uninviting as possible. Use blackout curtains or heavy blankets to block any light from escaping. Keep noise to a minimum, no loud conversations or music that could draw attention. Secure all entry points, including windows and sliding doors. A simple stick in the track or a makeshift barricade can go a long way. If you have an alarm system, use battery-powered components if available. If not, improvise. A pile of cans or a bell tied to a door handle can serve as a basic alert system. Next, have a plan. Know where your family will gather in case of an emergency, and make sure everyone understands the importance of staying quiet and calm. If you have a generator, use it sparingly and keep it out of sight. The sound of a running generator can attract attention, so consider using it during the day when it's less noticeable. Finally, stay vigilant. Keep a flashlight or headlamp within reach, but use it sparingly to avoid drawing attention. If you have a pet, keep them close and quiet. A barking dog can be both a deterrent and a giveaway, so manage their behavior carefully. By day 2, security becomes a top priority. It's not just about staying warm or fed, it's about staying safe. With a little preparation and a lot of awareness, you can protect your home and your family from the challenges that come with the darkness. 9. Cold or heat survival without HVAC when comfort turns into survival. By day 2 of a blackout, the absence of the AC system is just an inconvenience, it's a survival challenge. Whether you're battling freezing temperatures or sweltering heat, the lack of climate control puts your body under constant stress, and the consequences can escalate quickly. Let's start with cold weather. At first, that drafty window or poorly insulated door might have seemed like a minor annoyance. But by day 2, it feels like an open invitation for hypothermia. The temperature inside your home drops steadily, and no amount of wishful thinking will stop the cold from creeping in. Blankets help, but how many do you really have? Are they thick enough? Layering clothes is a good start, but it only works for so long, especially if you're sitting still. Your body generates heat through movement, so staying sedentary can actually make you colder over time. And let's not forget about your extremities. Fingers, toes, and ears are the first to feel the bite of the cold, and without proper protection, frostbite becomes a real risk. Now, let's flip the script to extreme heat. If you're dealing with a heat wave, the challenges are just as dangerous. Dehydration sneaks up on you faster than you think, especially when you're sweating all day without relief. That fan you relied on, it's dead. The cool shower you were counting on, not happening. Without air conditioning, your body struggles to regulate its temperature, and the risk of heat exhaustion or even heat stroke becomes very real. The constant sweating not only depletes your water reserves, but also drains your energy, leaving you feeling weak and irritable. What many people don't realize is that your HVAC system isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. Prolonged exposure to extreme temperatures weakens your immune system, making you more vulnerable to illness. And in a blackout, when medical help is harder to access, even a minor illness can become a major problem. So, how do you adapt? For cold weather, start by insulating your home as much as possible. Use towels, blankets, or even duct tape to seal off drafty windows and doors. Gather everyone into one room to conserve heat, and use body warmth to your advantage. If you have a fireplace, make sure it's safe to use and keep a supply of firewood handy. For clothing, focus on layers. Thermal underwear, wool socks, and hats are your best friends. And don't forget to stay active. Even light movement, like stretching or walking around the room, can help generate body heat. For heat, the key is to stay cool and hydrated. Use damp cloths or towels on your neck, wrists, and forehead to lower your body temperature. If you have access to a basement or a shaded area, spend as much time there as possible. It's likely the coolest spot in your home. Avoid heavy meals and opt for lighter, water-rich foods like fruits and vegetables. And most importantly, ration your water wisely. Dehydration can set in quickly, so make sure everyone in your household is drinking enough. By day 2, the absence of HVAC isn't just uncomfortable, it's a test of your resourcefulness. With the right strategies, you can stay safe and manage the challenges of extreme temperatures. But without preparation, the risks can escalate quickly, turning a tough situation into a life-threatening one. 10. Prep mistakes that now cost you hard lessons in survival. By the time day 2 of a blackout rolls around, the cracks in your preparation plan start to show. What seemed like a solid strategy on day 1 now feels full of holes, and the mistakes you made or didn't even realize you were making are starting to cost you. This is the moment when survival becomes a harsh teacher, and the lessons aren't easy to forget. Let's talk about the most common prep mistakes. Maybe you stocked up on batteries but forgot to test your flashlights. Now, you're fumbling in the dark with a dead flashlight and no way to fix it. Or perhaps your emergency food stash is heavy on dry goods like rice and pasta but light on canned goods or ready-to-eat options. Without a way to cook, those bags of rice are as useful as a pile of rocks. And what about water? Hoarding bottles is great, but did you think about how to purify water if your supply runs out? Without a filter or purification tablets, even a full bathtub of water can become undrinkable. Generators are another common pitfall. They're a great backup if you know how to use them safely. But without proper knowledge, a generator can become a safety hazard. Carbon monoxide poisoning, electrical fires, and fuel shortages are just a few of the risks. And let's not forget the little things that seem irrelevant until they're not. A manual can opener, matches or lighters, and a well-stocked first aid kit are all essentials that are often overlooked. And what about cash? With credit card machines down, that stack of plastic in your wallet is useless. If you didn't stash some cash ahead of time, you're out of luck. The real kicker? These mistakes don't just cost you convenience, they can cost you your safety, your health, and even your life. By day 2, the consequences of poor planning start to pile up. You're running low on supplies, your stress levels are through the roof, and the cracks in your plan are becoming impossible to ignore. But here's the thing, prepping isn't a one-and-done deal. It's not about buying a bunch of stuff and calling it a day. It's a continuous process of learning, testing, and improving. Did you test your flashlights and batteries before the blackout? Did you rotate your food and water supplies to ensure they're fresh? Did you practice using your generator or other emergency equipment? If the answer is no, day 2 is your wake-up call. So what can you do? Start by taking stock of what you have and what you're missing. Make a list of the gaps in your prep and prioritize fixing them as soon as possible. If you're low on water, look for alternative sources like your water heater or rainwater collection. If your food stash is lacking, get creative with what you have. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, remember that every small step you take now will make a big difference in the long run. By day 2, it's clear that survival isn't about luck, it's about preparation, planning, and practice. The mistakes you make today are lessons for tomorrow, and the sooner you learn them, the better off you'll be. Because as day 2 fades into day 3, the challenges only get harder, supplies dwindle, stress builds, and the margin for error gets smaller. But with the right mindset and a commitment to learning, you can turn those mistakes into opportunities to improve and ensure that you're ready for whatever comes next.